What's going on, everybody? It is Gray, aka the Okagure, and we're back with My Hero. And it's cool. It's a good one. Obviously, they're always good ones, but it's cool. I don't know. Real quick before we get started, one, if you want more My Hero content, you should subscribe, and if you enjoy this video, like the video. And Ruby, I know I normally talk about Rubies on Sunday. I try to, but school, and this is the same reason Bleach has been held back so long. School's just been railing me. Also, World of Warcraft, I'm going to be honest, a little bit on me too. But also school. But don't worry, it's literally on like the last week of the semester. So we should almost be done. And then I promise I'm going to like go ham and catch up on Bleach and have a better schedule. And then, you know, I'll say all these things. It's so easy to say now. Either way, Ruby should be coming tomorrow. So look forward to that because I do want to talk about that because that episode I thought was incredible. But yeah. Before we get in, you know, we'll save. Well, actually, we'll save this because there is a little bit that I want to talk because I called it. Real quick, we are gonna go over the top 10. It's a popularity poll. Another one came out. Obviously, number 1 hasn't changed, which is a convenient, fitting chapter. Bakugo's number 1, pretty much always. Midori. I don't. The problem is I don't have numbers, and I couldn't be asked to check the actual list. But everyone here makes sense to me. Iida's a surprise, to be honest, since Japan's loyal. It's one thing I've learned over my years of anime and popularity polls. Japan is mad loyal. A character can be not relevant for arcs, as we'll see in this guy, who, no, that is not Dabi, in case you thought it was, for arcs, and he's still in the top. And he is, like, I think, still in the top 5, which is crazy to me. Everyone else here makes sense, except for this guy. If you don't know, I don't remember his name. He's the guy from the provisional exam arc where he, like, could make earthquakes. What the heck is he doing here? Whose favorite character is that? What? Literally everyone else makes sense to me. There's Shigaraki in the back. Like, also, I love the aesthetic stuff that he goes. Oh, Hori's such a good artist. All right, let's get into the chapter. First and foremost, we start where we left off. The boy Lemillion showing up, looking like a beast. We get a little bit of area. As you can see, her horn is small, which makes me think that her power is like a... It's like a... gather a lot of her energy and then deplete it by, you know, healing people. He talks about how he got there, and he was like, he's been on sabbatical, but I don't feel nostalgic yet, which is funny. And then he's talking to him. He's like, I want to help out. And we can see Eri using her quirk on a lizard, which is funny. Oh, you actually can't see that. I know this is like the part of the green screen, but this is a lizard down here. And then he's like trying to run power, and he's like, go for it. And then just a really cute moment. He's like, that's why I'm training. And it's just, my heart is black, but it gets a little brighter every time Eri interaction is on screen. And then he's like, hey, I can't take these down with one punch, so I guess he needs help. He calls for help. There's a glint. Illusions from that time are nothing like I've ever done. All condensed faster. So I'm going to briefly talk about this. We get a really sick panel of Bakugo being on death's door, trying to save Best Genius. We get, alright, this is such a packed panel. So much happens at once, and I'm covering up almost all of it, which I kind of have to. Once again, I'm sorry, my channel will get removed for copyright. Nejiri's not out for the count, so that was exciting. She's like here. So all in the frame of a second, we have Mirio, and Iida and Ginium, which is cool that he's there. Nejiri, cool that she's there. And Bakugo, all helping fight the Nomu. It's honestly a really cool moment. And then he's like, have you experienced the world, Bakugo? And it's a cute exchange. Bakugo's like, that name was temporary. I held off. And his name is Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite. Real quick, we're going to take a pause. Because this is a Reddit thread that I made back 2 years ago. 2 years ago I made this. I called this name. I called it. It makes sense. I called the name. I didn't get the spelling exactly right. And in the official translation, oh no, it's fixed. They fixed it, I guess. Because originally this was dynamite, but spelled with a T-E. Like just the word dynamite. So I guess they fixed it or changed the translation because people weren't really happy. I mean, neither was I. Dynamite makes way more sense because of All Might's inspiration on him. So I also thought Dynamite was perfect, which is why I called it, by the way. I'm a beast. I know these things. Anyway, he says it, and literally everyone roasted, literally everyone but Lemillion. It's such a good moment. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this one in frame, fellas. You kind of get it. There's everyone. They're like childish, mouthful, disturbing, tacky, super tacky, and then Miriel's like, "Ha ha! Fine hero name with some humor to it." It's such a good. God, that's so funny. I can't wait to see that animated. Anyway, as you can see, now that they're fighting the Nomus, Betsinus can focus on Jantamaki, and it's looking pretty bad for the villains, actually. And then we get this dreadful scene, which is so good. It's Dobby burning and hugging, like hugging and burning at the same time, Todoroki. It's so disturbing. And he's like, no fun for you, just pain, which sums up Todoroki in this series. Endeavor is still just sitting there. He's like, I'm going to kill you. And then he's going to see what pig-faced dad makes. He also, like, says that you were raised with love? Question mark? And then we see a black whip from Deku, and he's like, Froppy style, like, shooting it from his freaking mouth. Dude, Deku's a machine, man. He's just a machine. This is a family affair, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I've been watching Endeavor try and be better. You aren't Endeavor. And then Endeavor's like, oh, Midoriya. He's still got a pity, blah, blah, blah. Evil is thriving. Dobby has like a rant about how justice is like going to lose. And then Jantamaki gets like a boost. I assume Shigaraki said something to him. He breaks out of a lot of the cords. And everyone's like, uh-oh. And then Endeavor goes for a last-ditch freaking punch and just socks. Not, like, just fucking... Oops, I can't swear on this channel. No one will catch that, right? It'll be on the down low. Between you and me, it'll be on the down low. Endeavor just punches him in his face. He comes crashing down. He's like, no strength. He's like, that reminds me. This strategy has no effect. But it did work. Hey, the sleep stuff or whatever, the poison, I guess. Sedative. That's a word. That's the word that they use. Why don't I use that word? So they did it. The kids of 1A actually helped. Now, real quick, we're gonna go back. So, if you guys don't recall, quirks have these things called awakenings, where the quirk will like get better. And we've only seen this a little. It's only been like very briefly talked about in the series so far. It's only happened to characters once really, and it was Getten talked about it, and then Toga's quirk. If you guys don't remember, in My Villain Academia, she got the ability to copy people's quirks, which she originally did not be able to do. I believe it's called a quirk awakening, something along those lines. There's a possibility that what Bakugo is describing here, the explosions from that time. It's possible that because a lot of times when the 100% of the time when we hear about this quirk awakenings, they happen from like high moments of stress. So it's very possible that the Bakugo's quirk awakened. He got a power up, which does make sense for the story because obviously Deku was flying way ahead at a rate that Bakugo just couldn't keep up without something. And don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed Bakugo being able to keep up with him just because his quirk is so versatile. And I still believe that that's the case. I just think that his quirk getting a little better makes sense. I also love this panel of Mirio screaming help. It's so good. He like comes in heroically and immediately he's like, I need help. It's funny. This is a cool panel. Either way, I'm going to give this chapter a 7 out of 10. Here's the problem. In today's world, a 7 out of 10 typically means a C, which is not what I'd give this chapter. A C, F would be a mediocre, not very good, not very bad, like a fairly indifferent chapter. That's what a 5 would be. So on my scale, I'm going to give this one a 7. It was still very good. I really like Dobby being an absolute maniac and like terrifyingly hugging his brother, trying to kill him with fire. That's so cool. I love Endeavor being motivated enough to give Maki a big old schmack. And yeah, just because there was someone said something on Reddit. So we're talking about what happens, like what we think's gonna happen, because all the villains can't get captured here. This isn't the end of the series. So, what's the plan? I think a few of the villains are probably because I still think that Tartarus Prison Break is going to happen whether we like it or not. But now it makes sense to me because I think a few of the villains might get. Here's the one hero or the one villain that can save some of the villains. Toga. Toga can show up and save them. So my prediction is Maki's going to be out. So they're going to have to, and Maki being gone is really good because that's such a huge boon for the villains. And because like him and Shigaraki both are like the strongest characters in the show right now. Maybe I don't know who can straight up fight Makia without a sedative or best genist and like a whole tag team of people. So one of those two being captured makes sense to me. I don't think Shigaraki will be because I mean to see him like be competent as a leader because he just came back and I still need to see his reaction. There's also Redestro, so potentially if that fight in the forest went well, they could show up, like getting Redestro, blah, blah, blah. But I still think the Prison Break arc is happening. So my big prediction is that Toga's going to show up, get a couple of them out. Maybe she copies, oh, you know what? It might be twice. It might be twice, because she has twice his blood because she held his dead body. So maybe she finally uses twice his quirk and gets everyone out. That way, that'd be crazy. But yeah, so I think Toga's gonna show up and get a couple of them out. I think we're gonna be captured. Maybe like Compress and Spinner are captured, and Makia, something along those lines. And when they get captured, they're gonna have to go prison break them all. So it's gonna be sweet. Either way, that's pretty much all I have to talk about. So yeah, cool chapter. Dabi's great. Mirio's great. Bakugo is a character for sure. No, I like Bakugo. I called it. Still called it. Either way, that is going to do it for me. I've rambled on long enough. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see all of you next time. Peace.